Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our ISKCON official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss the Bhagavatam 10th canto, 14th chapter, text 32. As I have said already, that 30 to 40, these 11 verses describes and Brahma's appeal for mercy and also the glories of Brajavasis. So in this verse it is said, Aho Bhagyam, Nanda Gopa Brajokasam, Janmitram Paramanandam, Purnam Brahma Sanatanam. How greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men, and all the other inhabitants of Brajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal Supreme Brahman has become their friend. Janmitram Paramanandam. The purport is this translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 6, text 149. This is Prabhupada's translation. And in Sarartha Darshan Tika, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that after praising the Ragatmika Vatsalya Prema, that is deep, spontaneous, paternal affection of the Brajavasis, Brahma glorified those with Ragatmika Sakya Prema, that is Mitram, and all those releasing intimate relationship with the Lord. The neuter case is used instead of the masculine case as a matter of traditional uses. The word Anandam indicate Brahman, as described in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 39-34, Satyam Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. The supreme reality is divine knowledge and bliss. The word Parama is used to indicate that Krishna is the basis of Brahman. The word Purnam indicate that Sri Krishna is distinct from the avatar forms who are also Brahma Swarupa. Krishna is the friend, that is Mitra, but not a temporary friend. Krishna is the eternal friend, Sanatanam, of Sridham and others. From this eternal friendship, it is also understood that Sridham and others are also eternal. If I make a statement, he is an excellent Brahmana because his Brahmanical qualities are excellent, then the person's excellence is also understood. Similarly, in speaking of the eternality of Krishna's friendship, the friends are also understood to be eternal. Thus, this must be explained since the word Mitra connotes simply an ordinary friend. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan ruled by Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Gopa Rajokasam, down to the birds and beasts were all fortunate. What then to speak of Nanda himself and his cowherd men? Who can describe the fortune of those who became the friend of Paramanandam, Brahma Sanatanam? It is indescribable. The Gopas themselves say, O Nanda, everyone in Braja has uncontrollable attraction to your son and he has natural affection for us. What is the cause? Stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 26th chapter, text 13. The cause is that Krishna is Purnam Brahma, the complete absolute truth. Therefore, the inhabitants of Braja give the topmost bliss to Krishna and receive the topmost bliss in return. Witnessing this exchange of love, Lord Brahma repeats the phrase O Bhagyam twice to indicate his extreme bliss and astonishment. So Siddhar Swami in Bhagavata Deepika says, Aho iti punar uktya bhagyasya sarvatha aparichannatum uktam. Why Aho Bhagyam is repeated twice? Because Siddhar Swami says that there is no end to the fortune of Brajavasis, aparichannatum uktam. Sifa Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Vaishnava Tosani Tika says that not only were they fortunate in giving their milk, Nanda and others, everyone living in Braja was fortunate. Aho is repeated out of great bliss or to indicate the greatest good fortune. Those who lived in the Braja of Nanda all the animals and birds, as well as Nanda and the cowherds were most fortunate. Even the cowherds in general had good fortune. What can one say about Nanda's fortune? This is use of Kaimutya. So in this way, Shiva Sanatana Goswami further says, they had friendship with Krishna, from which there was the highest bliss. There was no decrease of happiness because of lamentation and suffering. It was perfect in regards to gratitude and the other qualities. It was spread everywhere, Brahma, available everywhere. It was eternal, Sanatanam, never unattainable. So in this way, I would like to speak some another verse, that is verse 33. Esam tu bhagya mahimachyuto tavat astam ekadasi vahi vayam vatapuri bhagaha etat drishika chasakai asakrit vivamaha sarvado angri udaja madhyam amrita shravamte. That means, yet even though the extent of the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavan are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverages of the honey of your lotus feet. So, in the Vishwanath Thakur and Sarartha Darshan Tika says, the inhabitants of Raja have also made us, that demigods, most fortunate. That is the intention of these words. So Brahma prayed, what to speak of the fortune of the Brajavasis? We have also become fortunate. Who can describe it? The demigods like Shiva and I, Sarvadaya, who are the 11 deities in charge of the senses, have become most fortunate. Ekadasa Indriya, it is said, we have 11 senses, so they are presiding deities. They are also fortunate, though the senses of the Vrajavasis we have tested, through the senses of the Vrajavasis we have tested the external intoxicating nectar, Madhu, Amrita, Shravam, of the sweet sound of Krishna's ankle bells. In this way, Brahma expresses his determination to see, hear, touch, taste, smell, sing about, and message the Lord. Besides the 10 senses, there is mind, intelligence, false ego, consciousness, and they are presiding deities. Of these 14, the genital and anus are rejected as lowly. Vasudeva Krishna is the presiding Lord of consciousness. Excluding these three, leaves the 11 senses and they are presiding deities. Therefore, Brahma prays, we, the 11 presiding deities of the senses, are experiencing Krishna's sweetness through the 11 senses of the inhabitants of Braja. Something else should be considered here. The sun, moon, demigods, men, animals, and all the other entities of the spiritual world are Sachidananda, eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. The material sun, moon, and demigods are all expansions of the spiritual prototypes. The demigods of the material realm are specifically empowered agents of the demigods of the spiritual world. The material senses cannot act independently. Only by the sanction and power of the demigods can the material senses experience material objects. But Sri Krishna's eternal associates independently experience the Lord's form and sound by their own spiritual senses, without any influence of the mundane demigods. In his enthusiasm, however, Brahma identified his power to control material intelligence with the senses of the inhabitants of the Braja. Furthermore, the material senses enjoy the objects of the mundane world, but the presiding deities who facilitate this pleasure do not enjoy. However, without the presence of Brahma and the other presiding deities in the intelligence, mind, eyes, and nose, the senses of even those fixed in Krishna consciousness could not experience the sense objects of form or smell. This is the opinion of those who know the soul. Because of their eagerness to taste the sweetness of Krishna, Brahma, and others were able to experience bliss despite two faults. Though Brahma and the other presiding deities of the senses are mere instigators or karta of the action of the senses, they took on the role of being enjoyers, bhokta. Although they are the demigods of the material senses, they took on the role of being demigods of the spiritual senses. These are contrary actions seen in Krishna Prema. There is another meaning of the verse. Sometimes a devotee will praise his own fortune out of greediness to taste Krishna's sweetness. The good fortune of the inhabitants of Raja is incomparable, but we 10 demigods, the Dikpalas, are very fortunate. Why? Then, touching his finger to his senses, Brahma continued, Hey Krishna, with our senses, we also experience your beauty and sweetness as you leave Braja to herd the calves. In this way, there are also other purports, but I would like to stop here with a request to subscribe, share, and like our channel and get blessings of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.